What would happen if Muzan sent a different upper moon on the Mugen train? What would the different kinds of battles look like, and would our boy Rengoku actually make it out alive in this alternate scenario? In this video, I'm going to be discussing Rengoku's hypothetical battles with all the different upper moons, so without further ado, let's get right into it. For those of you new to the channel, my name is Dill, and it's my mission to explore the very depths of all that anime has to offer. If you enjoy this content and want to support the channel, consider liking the video, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell so you never miss when a new video is posted. Let's start things off with Upper Moon 6 Kaigaku. I think we all know that Kaigaku is much weaker than Akaza, but let's go through the situation if he was sent on the Mugen train instead. For the anime watchers that haven't seen Kaigaku, he's a master of total concentration breathing and was taught thunder breathing alongside Zenitsu. Upon turning into a demon, Kaigaku has the ability to turn his electricity black and control it through electrokinesis. Although I think Rengoku matches him in most categories, the one that I think Kaigaku has the edge over would be his speed, hands down. But while he is incredibly fast, the one thing Kaigaku does not have is experience with his demon powers. It's clearly stated in the manga when Kaigaku fights Zenitsu that if he was more experienced with his demon powers, he definitely would have killed him in that fight. Like Zenitsu, it's fair to say that Kaigaku would completely underestimate Rengoku and just get shattered by his resilience and fighting spirit. If Rengoku prepared any kind of crazy attack like his esoteric art, 9th form Rengoku, Kaigaku would be completely caught off guard. So for all intents and purposes, it's pretty apparent to say that Rengoku would completely dominate this fight. So with one upper moon down, let's move on to the next one. Coming up next, we have the former title holders of Upper Moon 6, Gyutaro and Daki. Although being the bottom of the upper moons, it's clearly obvious that we can't underestimate this terrifying duo. It's stated that in total, the pair has killed 22 Hashira, with Daki killing 7 and Gyutaro killing 15. We already know from the Entertainment District arc that Gyutaro by himself has the strength to take on the Sound Hashira, Tengen, Uzui all by himself, and Daki being able to survive the onslaught of Zenitsu and Inosuke, two pretty strong demon slayers in their own right. But the scariest part about this duo is that both of their heads need to be cut off at the exact same time, or else one of them will just simply regenerate. And without any assistance from another demon slayer, I think things don't look too great for our boy Rengoku. Sure, he could easily take out Daki pretty quickly, but then once Gyutaro joins the fight, things will be very, very different. At this point in the Mugen train, Inosuke really is the only person that's able to fight, so he would have to take on Daki in this hypothetical scenario. And since Daki by herself really isn't an upper moon strength, I think Inosuke could potentially hold his own against her. So if we're just talking about Rengoku versus Gyutaro, I think he has a pretty good chance here. Seeing how obviously in the main timeline how he could stall Akaza until sunrise, it's safe to say that he probably could push Gyutaro to his absolute limits. In my opinion, Rengoku is definitely the stronger Hashira between him and Tengen, and if Tengen could definitely do that, I think Rengoku could as well. And to all my Rengoku lovers out there, the great thing about this alternative situation is that Rengoku would survive. Even if he was poisoned by Gyutaro, we still have Nezuko aboard the train that could heal him just like she did Tengen. So to recap thus far, we have Rengoku taking out both of the Upper Moon 6s. But things are just getting started. In the next fight, we have Upper Moon 5, the fish guy himself, Gyoko. To recap about Gyoko's ability, he has these porcelain vases that he can create that he can warp to at any time. This makes fighting him kind of finicky and pretty tricky in all honesty. He also has the ability to summon these crazy pufferfish to shoot these poisonous needles, but for Rengoku, I don't see this being a huge issue. Alongside the annoying teleportation ability, another thing that doesn't work to Rengoku's favor in this fight are the passengers of the Mugen train itself. You see, Gyoko is an absolute sadist and will do whatever he needs to do to get the upper hand or just be an evil person, in all honesty. It's not a stretch to think that Gyoko will use his abilities on the passengers of the Mugen train, and with Rengoku being the wholesome and wholehearted person he is, he would definitely try his best to save them. And we all know that Gyoko would take advantage of that opening. His blood demon art water prison pot has the ability to trap and keep Hashiras inside, as we saw with Muichiro. So if Rengoku gets tagged with this, it's safe to say that he's not coming out. So Rengoku in this case would need support from Tanjiro and Inosuke to help him in this fight against Gyoko. Similar to the swordsmith in the Swordsmith Village arc, I think if Tanjiro blows bubbles into the prison, Rengoku could get out with a breathing technique. But if Tanjiro is helping out Rengoku, then Inosuke would have to take on Gyoko, and we all know that Inosuke is absolutely getting bodied in this fight. So in this fight, I could absolutely see the boar-headed legend himself actually dying, which would absolutely be heart-shattering for our main cast. In this case, I think an enraged Hanjiro and Rengoku would be able to hold off Gyoko until sunlight, but incurring high amounts of battle damage. So far, between the battles of the Upper Moon 6s and Upper Moon 5, Rengoku is coming out alive, but what about Upper Moon 4, Hantengu? Let's take a look at this scenario. Given Hantengu is the type of demon who starts off really weak but just gets stronger as you kill more and more of his clones, I feel like this plays to Rengoku's advantage since he could simply just wait until the sun comes up while he fights weaker clones. But Zohakoten, Hantengu's final form, might be a huge issue. Here's why. We know from the Swordsmith Village arc that Hantengu only really brings out Zohakoten when his life is in complete jeopardy. But given the focus of the Demon Slayers is to protect the passengers on the train and not try and kill Hantengu outright, I feel like this form manifesting is much less of a possibility. But if for some reason he did turn into Zohakoten, I just don't see Rengoku and gang surviving his crazy wood dragon abilities, and I think it would be game over for them. Now, of course, we're gonna skip Upper Moon 3 because we clearly saw how that played out. But moving on to Upper Moon 2, we have Rengoku facing off against Doma, the insane rainbow-eyed cult leader. And given that Rengoku was completely outclassed against Akaza, who is, for all intents and purposes, weaker than Doma, I think we can clearly state that this battle wouldn't last very long. However, the difference between Akaza and Doma is that Doma is a complete sadist and just loves toying around and messing with people, and he would clearly do that in this fight as well. Like in the case of Akaza, Rengoku would realize that Doma is just way too strong and just couldn't beat him in an outright battle. So instead of trying to win, his goal would be to stall him until sunrise so that the passengers, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Nezuko could be safe. Although Doma is an absolute crazy person, he would probably catch on to this and realize right away what Rengoku was trying to do. In this reality, I just don't see a timeline where Tanjiro, Inosuke, Rengoku, Nezuko, or anybody on the train survives Doma, as he'll just devour each and every one of them. And last but not least, we have Upper Moon 1, the strongest demon apart from Muzan, Kokushibo. Being nearly alive for 500 years, he's had all that time to refine his swordsmanship abilities and stands way above all of the Upper Moons. What sets him apart as well from all the other demons is that he's mastered a breathing style and has his own Demon Slayer mark, making him even more overpowered than he already is. If Kokushibo was the one sent to the Mugen train, things clearly wouldn't go over very well. While acknowledging Rengoku's swordsmanship abilities, he would probably commend him and offer him to become a demon just like he did, since he's reached the maximum potential that he could achieve as a human. But Rengoku, being the Chad that he is, would clearly refuse. After hearing this response, Kokushibo would swiftly and utterly destroy Rengoku in one single and simple motion. But an interesting thing to keep in mind is that an enraged Hanjiro, who possesses sun breathing at this point in time, would probably showcase it to Kokushibo, who would get flashbacks to his younger brother Yoriichi. Enraged by the thought of his younger brother, he would go on a rampage, killing everyone and everything in the area, reporting back to Muzan that the boy with the Hanafuda earrings has been eliminated. But how do you guys think these battles would ultimately go? Leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. If you like this Demon Slayer content and want to check out more videos on this amazing series, click the link right here for my Demon Slayer playlist. As always, thank you to everyone for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Stay curious, anime fam. Peace.